Hello and welcome to Zach's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by Liam Hardy, who's Managing Director at Ekometall. How are you today, Liam?
Very good, Zach. Yeah, baking in the sun. It's about 30 degrees outside, so happy to join you in the cool air.
I think that will date very quickly, that particular temperature. But anyway, your company's based in Austria, which is possibly not a very usual geography for mining and exploration. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so it's not usual for about the last 50 odd years. The last major operational copper mines were in the 1970s. So what we're doing is a very small company reevaluating those mines to see if they're still economical. It's a very simple story.
Right, and so is it something which is like a shot in the dark, or do you actually have a reasonable idea of what to expect?
Yeah, so when I first heard about it, I thought maybe it was a shot in the dark. And I went to the archives in Vienna, and we had a small team working with Geosphere, the Austrian Geological Survey, and we found a huge amount of data. And we've honed in on four main projects with historical mine production records, with 3D models of mines, cross sections, and we don't think it's a shot in the dark anymore. We're pretty sure those mines are definitely there.
There's a sort of stereotype with mining that I suppose the more difficult, inaccessible, politically unstable, the better the assets, the better the resource, and obviously Austria is the opposite of that. Is there a stereotype of like finding good resources or large-scale resources in far off places, and if it's on your back door, then maybe there's not that much there?
Yeah, I think for Austria, the Austrians have always known it's there, but their database and all of their historical data is in German. So when we first Googled Austrian mining, we got nothing comes up. You can try it now. If you Google Österreichisches Bergbau, you get one of the world's biggest databases of geological data. It's comparable to the GTK in Finland. Old drill holes, geochemical surveys, geophysical surveys. So yeah, the Austrians have always known it's there. It just needed somebody to go and pick up that data and have a look.
Right. I mean, mining is now dominated by net zero and transition and battery metals and all that kind of stuff. How are you positioned in that particular sort of bracket?
I think very well. Austria relies on a lot of hydro energy, so we're pretty clean on the energy side. We're bang in the centre of Europe, so we're just south of most of the German car manufacturers. We're next door to very clean smelting operations in Austria. In terms of being a green mining company, we couldn't be much greener, really.
So, for people looking for that kind of aspect, you're one in the sort of the near the top of the queue.
We hope so, yeah, for sure. We're definitely the best positioned. And I think Austria has a lot to offer there. It's a very green and clean and modern country, so what we can produce will follow that trend.
Right, the UK stock market, you're not on the stock market, but the UK stock market is littered with companies who are promising that they'll get something out of the ground at some point. What makes you different?
We haven't made that promise. So we're based entirely on data. All of our work is geological driven. All of our money has gone into the ground, into our geology and our research. And we're also working on old mines. So the best place to find a mine is in the shadow of the headframe of an old mine.
So you're in Austria, you're all ready to go and everything else. You've obviously done some groundwork, literally. Where are you in terms of discovering, and what have you found out so far?
Yeah, so discovery is a very scary word. I think the definition now is you have to have 10 drill holes that prove a theory could be economical. So I'm going to shy away from that one. But we've got our first lab results back. 25 out of 60 rocks that we sent to ALS in Romania came back at ore grade copper, which we were expecting good numbers. They came back up to 5% on some of them. We also got some really nice surprises in Kelsharpe, one of our properties in Tyrol, and I've brought some rocks here actually to show you. I don't know if the camera will pick them up. Yeah. But we started finding in the surrounding the copper mine, cobalt, which has never been reported historically. We're not entirely sure how it enters the system yet, but there's a huge amount of it all around the existing copper mines. So we're getting a lot of nice results and a lot of nice surprises, all very positive in time and in budget so far.
So in a way, in the old days, probably cobalt was not actually, if they found it, they were not interested in cobalt, they were just interested in copper.
Yeah, well, the mineral that the cobalt is in is erythrite. It hadn't even been discovered when this mine was pulling out this material. So.
Right, so things are looking good in terms of what seems to be around. You're sniffing around and you're finding stuff. What is your next plan of action? Where are you in your sort of company's life cycle?
Yeah, so things are looking good. We just did we spent 200,000 euros on this campaign over the summer, kind of to test the waters and see if we could operate in Austria, if it was realistic, because a lot of people had doubts and concerns. I think we've come back now with a lot of good data and proven this can be done. The next stage will be another fundraise at the moment. We're going to continue our field work. We're going to look at doing some IP geophysical surveys, some drone geophysics as well, and really looking at the potential scale of these deposits, because we know they're there, we know they're at good grade. What we need to know now is, are they big enough to merit real spending and drilling in 2024?
The other point with mining, which you see more and more, is the jurisdiction, how easy it is to get on with the authorities, what the locals are like, et cetera, et cetera. Where are you in that kind of sphere?
Yeah, well, Austria has maybe 4,000 years of mining history, which has never stopped for any period. Some of our mines have been active since, for 4,000 years. The legal structure in Austria for mining is very accessible. It's very simple, it's very affordable as well, it's very supportive. We've met with the federal level of government, we've met with local mayors, and on the whole, we have a lot of support for the projects. We don't have any worries with developing these.
So it tends to be, in some places, it's like 1,000 stages to nirvana, and you've got to do this and tick that box and get to this stage and that stage. Is it, a sort of safer, easier process?
I'd say safer, as long as you understand the infinite amount of paperwork. So Austria is known for its paperwork and long decision-making processes. It's positive, it's a clear system. It's not going to be fast or easy, but it does exist, which is better than most newer jurisdictions, that we have a nice clear route to take here.
Right, so you said you're looking to raise another slug of money to progress things further. Where will that take you to?
Yes, so we're looking for £300,000 now, which is another small step. We're still in the gradual value building phase where we test these projects and see if they're really worth going to market with. That'll take us through to January, when we'll come back and present all of our historical mines in 3D models, hopefully with some estimates on the scale there, and we'll look to go and drill those.
Right, small caps, it's all about the management. Most cases, doesn't really matter what the company's doing. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, I mean, myself, I'm a managing director. I'm a geochemist originally with a keen focus on exploration. I'm very hot on compliance and sticking to the rule book on that. We're using a lot of new technology and methods, but we're very tight on our numbers and data. We've just brought on Mark Rollins to the board. He's an ex-director of Shell. He's got a lot of capital markets experience, so he's going to be guiding us on the capital markets side, along with Julien Desrosiers, who's a Canadian financial risk analyst, and he's going to be helping when we come to the bigger numbers later on in the drilling. He's actually a driller by training originally. So.
All right, so I mean, some investors do like to look at the longer view, or where they're going, the destination as well. You're in Central Europe. Obviously many companies and industries, literally chomping at the bit for copper and cobalt. How long do you think? Is it a piece of string question in terms of how long to production, or how would you answer that?
Very much how long is a piece of string, but I think permitting in Austria, because we're looking at reopening historic mines rather than building something new, and we're looking at high-tech, underground, small impact projects, our pathway to production could be a lot easier than many others. We're not looking to discover Escondida, we're looking for economically viable, profitable small-scale projects.
On that note, an upbeat note, Liam Hardy, Managing Director at Ekometall. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Zach. Cheers.
Cheers.